What's up, everybody? My name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon, the crypto universe. Today's Wednesday, December 3rd. Now in today's dog video, I want to talk about how possibly there could be a bull run happening in Q1 of 2026. Now, a lot of speculators have actually kind of predicted that maybe the 4-year cycle has been broken. And that is due to the fact that we have institution and hedge funds that have been propping up Bitcoin's price over the past couple years. Retail is not here, retail euphoria is not here, and we've not seen peak indicators for the Bitcoin price. Now, with this said, what does this actually mean for dog Bitcoin, especially beginning in Q1 of 2026? Well, I'll share with you my thoughts in this video, so let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X. Please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I'll never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email, so please be careful and invest safely. Guys and girls, let's get right into it. So dog Bitcoin right now is still hovering around a 120 million market cap. Again, for the past 24 hours, it's just been trading sideways. Now, Bitcoin is still sustained around 93,000. Some of the market and some of the altcoins right now haven't really pumped too hard. And I'm speaking about the top altcoins by market cap. Now, when we look at memecoins actually haven't really moved that much either. In fact, some of them are actually down 4%, some are down 5 to 6%. When we scroll down, we'll go down to dog Bitcoin. It's roughly around 0.5% down. So again, it's still above memecoin, Melania, SNEC. It's just kind of hovering, and these kind of go back and forth. They flip one another. But I will share with you my opinions at the very end of the video where Bitcoin memecoins stand. Now, what could be some catalyst events that could send the crypto market into a bull run starting in Q1 of 2026? Well, apparently, Alice Liu, who is the head of research over at CoinMarketCap, says, just based on internal data, that she said, quote unquote, "We are going to see a market comeback in Q1 of 2026. February and March will be a bull market again, based on a combination of macro indicators." But then there's also this. Have you noticed the daily exchange volume over the past 7 days? This is the moving average. And guess where it's coming from? These are spot market total volumes of cryptocurrencies across Binance, Coinbase, Bitfinex, and more. So this data includes trading of tokens such as Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana. I mean, just look at that record. This is something that we've actually never seen before, reaching over $200 billion. This is a new all-time high. This has never been seen before. So we are in a whole new ballpark. So some people may think that this 4-year cycle has ended and that we're going downwards. And some people in the comments will say, check out this other YouTuber, check out these other analysts. They're saying that there is a top signal and that we're heading down. But what they are ignoring is that we've never been in an institution hedge fund bull run. We've never seen hedge funds, institutions ever buy into big cryptocurrencies like this in terms of exposure to their portfolio. So we've never seen this in the previous past 3 cycles. They were all retail in the past. Now it's not the same. And we see things like the Vanguard effect, right? So Vanguard, which is another hedge fund, decided out of nowhere to not ban exposure of cryptocurrencies to their clients. And now they're offering Bitcoin ETFs, which is kind of a huge game changer. So this is another reason why I think this is a different cycle. Ignore the 4-year cycle, and people could be very offended by that, but I think that this is the case. And yesterday, we just saw that BlackRock saw over $1.8 billion in inflows just within 2 hours after that announcement from Vanguard. And also, you're seeing another thing. Don't forget, so President Trump mentioned yesterday that Kevin Hassett potentially, quote unquote, will be the next Fed chair, when in reality, I think it's most likely. Now, some people are actually kind of fearful of that, such as the bond market participants. They're concerned over the Fed chair candidate, Kevin Hassett. They're afraid that he's going to cut rates aggressively just to please Donald Trump. And to me, my honest opinion, I think he will. I think he will please Donald Trump because he's being selected. And also, could this send Bitcoin higher? I absolutely think so. So the same wallets that were manipulating the price bought back in, right? Wintermute, Binance, Coinbase, BitMEX, Bitfinex, but also we have Kraken, Bitstamp. I mean, even strategies, they're all buying these dips, okay? Now, could this be coordinated? We don't exactly know, but the timing of it is crazy. And this is not retail. This is mainly the institutions and hedge funds and family offices. What other bullish data do we have? Because just as of this morning, look at this, the US ADP private payrolls apparently unexpectedly fell negative 32,000 jobs in November when it was expected to gain roughly 10,000. So right now, it seems like there's no choice for the Fed other than to cut interest rates. And this is why you see on Polymarket, we just went to a 95% chance that a 25 basis point rate cut will happen. This has increased yesterday from 86% to now around 95%. Same thing on CME Watch Tool. It's now increased from 87 to now 89%. Now let's talk about DOG. How will DOG be positioned for this? Well, regardless of what's happening with the whole macro market, if we are heading into a very bullish Q1 of 2026, you got to see these early signals, say for instance with DOG. So if you've noticed, DOG has been interacting with Gemini's account, their X account, quite a bit. And if you total XRP, Pepe, Sol, and DOG with hat combined, it's still 22,000 negative impressions and engagements than DOG is, which DOG total is 99,000 impressions and engagements just between October through November at the beginning of December. So these early signals you really do need to spot, because usually this tells you that these meme coins are most likely are going to skyrocket once the bull market does kick in. Now, I want to remind everybody that you need to get into DOG before, say for instance, top crypto KOLs, aka key opinion leaders, and your favorite YouTube influencers start hyping up DOG. Because if they do, that real window has actually closed. At that stage, you're not early, you're exit liquidity. And the same thing could be said about Zcash. So right now, people started talking about Zcash after a pump, but you're not supposed to buy into that while they're talking about it. You have to buy into that before it pumps. So really, the real advantage comes from acting before the trend forms. So position yourself ahead of the narrative. Be the 1%. And the 1% buy into things when nobody's talking about it before it ends up becoming a trend, and before these major YouTube influencers and KOLs start like advocating them for it, championing DOG, and saying you gotta buy it. That's when it's too late. So this is what publicly traded company C2 Blockchain is doing. They're roughly around 399 million tokens away from hitting their 1 billion DOG token goal for their treasury. And out of nowhere, I went onto CoinGlass to look at the futures volume for DOG, and out of a sudden, out of nowhere, LBank, out of all exchanges, LBank saw roughly $11 million worth of trading volume within the futures of DOG. It absolutely dwarfs other exchanges like BitGet, Bybit, KuCoin. LBank, now when I say a lot of trading volume, this is also, liquidations of longs, liquidations of shorts. So this isn't just like, volume for the DOG price going up. Basically what I'm trying to share with you is that there's a lot of activity, renewed activity with DOG on futures market, which gives you some foresight that the DOG spot market will come shortly after that. And I want to remind everybody about this, which is Kraken. You already know that Kraken has listed multiple different Bitcoin meme coins, aka runes. But the reason that's important is because Kraken actually has a huge track record of spotting breakout trends before anyone else. So if you notice that when they listed Bitcoin meme coins, they're actually positioning themselves as a gateway for the entire wave of Bitcoin meme coin season. So basically, since they built the infrastructure for Bitcoin meme coins, meaning like you can actually buy the underlying asset on the layer 1 network on Bitcoin, people are going to hear about DOG and other Bitcoin meme coins once they do experience their very first pump. And then where are they going to go to buy it? They're maybe not going to buy it on Magic Eden. They're going to want to buy it somewhere where they can actually buy it, which is Kraken. Remember when Dogecoin wasn't available to buy really anywhere until, say, for instance, Coinbase listed it? Well, actually, it wasn't just Coinbase. It was also Robinhood. Robinhood and Coinbase were the very first exchanges that listed Dogecoin. No one was able to buy it before, and it was actually quite hard, but because they were already listed on the exchanges, people knew where to go. They registered for accounts and they saw that things were pumping. And that's where retail that isn't a part of crypto, these are the your parents or people who just work at your office or maybe work at your school, or these are your colleagues basically, and they hear about DOG just like what they heard in Dogecoin. And what they do is they pretty much speculate and say, you know what, I want to buy into this because it's fun, it's cute. And then they end up buying on an exchange such as Kraken. So we're just following the exact same cycle that we saw with Dogecoin, but it's happening with DOG Bitcoin and for Bitcoin meme coins. So this is amazing. Kraken is really good at spotting these things. And if they spotted it this early, you, the 1%, are in the right position. Now, in terms of charting analysis, let's look at the DOG chart. As you see, what's really crazy about this DOG chart, and I keep seeing this over and over, is that this DOG price continues to tap and bounce right off the resistance of this blue trend line. So as you notice, it keeps going up and then down, up and then down. It's having a hard time breaking above that, but eventually it has to break above that. I mean, it has to break above it, maybe, in my personal opinion, before December 10th or on December 10th or around December 10th, because that's when the 25 basis point rate cut does happen. Now, I don't know what's actually going to happen, because could we see something like this where the MACD, the blue and orange line, go over here and it seems like they're going to break out into the buyer's market, but they don't, and it's actually rejected? Could we see something like that where we get to that exact point, but it's rejected and we go down? I don't exactly know, but I will say we have been oversold for way too long, ever since roughly June of this year. And as you can see, this RSI has been trending downwards, meaning that selling pressure gets weaker and weaker, and you're kind of seeing the exact same thing happening with this on the MACD. We've experienced two different parabola events. We saw one over here and one over here, which is reflective of the price. But we always see these MACD indicators that kind of show us that we're heading in that direction right before the bull run. You saw it over here before it had a bull run, and you saw it over here before it had a bull run. So we're seeing the exact same thing here, but the difference is, what's crazy about this little MACD indicator is that this amount of selling pressure is so weak, and also the amount of buying pressure is so weak, the MACD is still leaving the seller's market and heading to the buyer's market at some certain point. We just don't exactly know when it's going to happen. And last but not least, I just want to end it right here. So blockchain, which is an exchange and also a wallet, has just reached out to me, which we've been waiting for. And they've actually already publicly said that they're right now with their technicians trying to work with building the runes infrastructure within their exchange. But they are interested in talking with myself and also with Leonidas to talk about dog, ordinals, runes, and educate their viewers, because right now they have roughly around 1.3 million followers. So I will keep you guys updated on that very, very soon. But until then, what do I think what's going to happen in Q1 of 2026? I mean, just based on what hedge funds, family offices, and institutions are doing, I think there is a possibility that Q1 could have a major bull cycle. So many technical analysis people out there that follow the Fourier cycle program have been following data that's based on retail, mainly being the driving force behind these bull cycles and also these parabola events in the last 3 cycles. But for this cycle, what's really interesting is that we met an all-time high Bitcoin price before the 2024 Bitcoin halving. And this past year, when we were supposed to be reaching euphoric levels, which is like what, 150,000 to like 200,000 per Bitcoin, that was supposed to happen in these past 3 months in Q4 2025, but it hasn't happened yet. The bull market peak indicators have not been ignited, meaning there's still more upside. And again, this is different. With institutions, family offices, and hedge funds being a part of this, it changes the game. And also with governments and countries and other people buying Bitcoin on their balance sheet and Vanguard changing their tone, everything is saying, get ready for Q1 of 2026. And if that's the case, you know that not only altcoins will do well, but Bitcoin meme coins most certainly will be the main narrative, the main meme coin season that people are going to chase. As always, just like on Ethereum, Solana, and BNB, no one chased meme coins until it was too late. And so right now, you're the 1% paying attention to dog right now, and you're in early, right before these key opinion leaders and also YouTube influencers start talking about it. So let me know your thoughts down below. What you think is going to happen. Is there going to be a bull market in Q1 of 2026? Let me know your thoughts down below. Cannot wait to read them. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X to receive all of our alpha calls and updates regarding Dog of the Moon. Till then, see you guys girls next time.